speaking this morning to Constantine Karayannopoulos from Lithium. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
Tell me a bit more about yourself, Constantine. I know you were one of the founders of the company alongside Waldo Perez back in the day.
Right. Well, Waldo was the original founder, and we joined forces early on in the development of the project. I used to be on the board of another lithium company with Waldo, so we've cut our teeth in Argentina developing lithium in the past. My background, I'm a chemical engineer. I have an undergraduate and graduate degree from the University of Toronto, and I've been an engineer all my life. I'm the chairman also of Neo Performance Materials, a Toronto Stock Exchange listed engineered materials company that starts with rare earths and develops, highly engineered performance materials, real specialties. So I know a thing or two about starting with an idea and using very sophisticated engineering and technology aspects to develop it into a real cash flowing project.
And what was the appeal at Neo Lithium?
Well, Waldo came to me in late 2015, and he says, "This is what I found in Argentina. I think it's really good. What do you think?" I said, "Waldo, this almost looks too good to be true. It's if I didn't know you, I'd think you'd be making it up." We started the company. We formed it in early 2016. We did a couple of financing rounds, and then we did a little bit of work in Argentina and listed the company on the TSX in July of 2016. And to my pleasure and my very positive surprise, it's only been getting better. I like to call it a freak of nature, because if you had the top 10 attributes of the ideal lithium deposit, this thing would tick off every single one. That's why I said to Waldo, this is almost too good to be true.
Well, speaking of which, I spoke to Waldo not too long ago on the back of the resource upgrade here, an increase of 227% I mean, some might say that's almost too good to be true as well.
Well, you see, we were in a little bit of a hurry as we were developing the company. We needed to prove a resource fairly quickly, and in our first, and we're in Argentina, we're up in the Andes at 4,000 meters altitude, which means that our, the weather patterns are such that we cannot operate fully in terms of a drilling campaign year round. So we have a window, say, between October and April, which is the Argentinian summer, that we have to achieve all of our results. And the first campaign, we sort of ran out of time, and as a result, we were only able to drill sufficiently to prove out the original resource, which was an important step because it established the basic characteristics of the project as being high grade and very low impurity and a significantly large resource. So we, with the luxury of a bit more time and more drilling and then more advanced analysis, we conducted our seismic tests and our geophysics, and then we had a much more focused drilling campaign over the last summer, which resulted in this fairly massive increase for the resource. This updated resource estimate, what it tells us, all of us who really understand the project, is that it confirms that this is a massive world-scale resource. It's one of the top 10 in the world. And it is one of the best resources out there in terms of size, grade, and it's probably, we haven't come across anything that's superior. It is the lowest impurity lithium resource in the world. And that's important because there's a very direct correlation between impurity content and cost of production. So we feel pretty good about it.
And of course, you got that particular high-grade zone in the north.
Correct.
Of the property too, don't you?
Which is where we will start when we go into production, yes.
So you're not drilling on the ground at the moment?
Right now, no. We finished our drilling campaign late April of this year, and we're getting all of our drilling contractors setting up and getting ready to start again in late September, early October. We will continue a little bit of drilling. We need to prove out certain pockets, again, as part of, I guess, I don't want to call it a mining plan because it's not a conventional mine, but we need to do a little bit more work before we get into full feasibility.
And well, some of the early work towards that feasibility has already begun.
Yes, I mean, we did a preliminary economic assessment last year on the basis of the original estimate, and a lot of that information is just a drop-in into the feasibility. We continue with more work. We have a pilot plant that's coming to Fiambala, the town nearby, where we plan to be doing most of the processing. With the information that we gain from the pilot operation, a lot of that information will again go right into the feasibility.
And some serious discussions happening now as to bringing in a potential partner.
Well, this is what we always wanted to do. I think one of the most common mistakes that junior mining companies make is to assume that because they're very good miners or very good junior miners, they can also be very good specialty chemists or specialty chemical engineers. This is a divide that I have not yet seen bridged very effectively. And when you look at some of the projects in the past that, they went from a mining project to a specialty chemicals project, unless you plan it, there's an awful lot of tears that could potentially materialize. So what we're trying to do is we're having a number of discussions with potential strategic partners who what would bring, in addition to a balance sheet and the ability to help us finance the project to construction and startup, they perhaps are bringing market skills and technical skills that would be not necessarily critical. It would be critical, but we may have some of them, but we may not have all of them, and we could still do without them. But I think it's very important when you're designing a project like this, where at the end of the day, you're not digging stuff out of the ground, putting it on a truck, and off it goes. You are making a specialty material with very precise specifications that needs to go into fairly advanced operations. And in that, it's very important to have market pull in terms of specs, product mix, and the like. So we are waiting to decide on who our partner will be before we start formally the full-scale feasibility study, which is not a cheap thing to do. So we want to make sure that we get it done right.
Well, have you got a rough ballpark figure what you're talking to get you through to start of production?
Well, yeah, we've been aiming for late 2020, 2021, and of course, I've never seen a chemical plant that started on the button. I mean, once you press the button, you need to ramp it up. So that's sort of the time frame. It'll probably take us a few months to get it up to full production.
And cost-wise, getting you to that point?
Well, so far the estimated capex is in the order of $490 million. Which we may have been a bit on the conservative side, but that's the number that we're going with. You'd be better off being conservative than the other way. And we're also looking at a cost of production, which is one of the lowest in the world, around the $2,700 a ton per equivalent lithium carbonate equivalent, which we expect with some additional optimization and some additional work that we're performing, we're hoping that we'll bring that down quite a bit.
Well, you're certainly not standing still. It seems as though things are moving at pace here.
Well, absolutely. We have a 100-person camp in the Andes right at the project. It's really remarkable. We call it Lithium City. It's really remarkable how we've gone in a very short period of time from an idea in Waldo's head to 100-person camp, drillers, we have chefs, maintenance guys, people sleep on site. We have a lot of contractors. It's a beehive of activity up in the Andes, and we all love to visit the project. We don't do it very often because 4,000 meters altitude is not easy on some of us, but we have a very seasoned group of people that are doing a fantastic job on site.
Great to see you this morning, Constantine. Thanks for your time.
Likewise. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it.